sugar maple is an amazing tree, as many of you know, and it has a lot of characteristics that can help it in a changing climate. Right? It's really well adapted to live long, so it has a lot of strategies like compartmentalization to ward off diseases and insects. It's very strong wood, so hopefully it does well in disturbances and ice loading. It has a very large population and large genetic diversity, high genetic diversity, so that's really great. So we're not, like I said, it's not going to be completely lost from the landscape, but there are some things that make sugar maple a little bit vulnerable. And that's, as I mentioned, the feeder roots, sort of a vulnerability of sugar maple compared to some other species, the early bud break and late spring frost. It does get eaten by quite a lot of insects and diseases it can be susceptible to diseases. It does have very high nutrient demands, and so this can be an issue for it. And then when we think about punctuated events, it's really not a drought-tolerant species. It's definitely not fire-tolerant. And hopefully we don't see a lot of fire in our state, but you never know. And then things like low snowpack and really hot, dry summers mean that the tree will usually suffer. We'll see declines in growth and vigor in those events. And one thing that we're really worried about with sugar maple is regeneration. So we have this we call regeneration bottleneck for sugar maple. We're seeing, we've got a lot of mature trees, we have a lot of regeneration, but the middle size classes are missing on a lot of sites for a number of reasons. And some of these have to do with the physiology of the species, but also past management and of course stressors like deer browse. Deer love sugar maple seedlings. There could be this earthworm combination, but things like it doesn't seed every year. And seed viability, we've seen from research, is really dependent on the nutrient content of that site. So it might look like the tree has seeds, but those seeds aren't filled. They're not viable. We've seen nutrient content relate to how vigorous the seedlings are, how well they grow. So there's a lot of complicated factors between a seed becoming an established sapling and tree.